Hello friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We start our video with the story of a waiter who stood up for himself after being roughly treated by a rich customer. But after the customer saw the bill, his attitude changed dramatically, and our OP got a good tip. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Give the kid whatever he wants? Sure, will do. Working at a country club, being paid almost nothing by hour, but having 10% of the client's bill given to me, unless they said they weren't paying it. So despite the absurd workload, I took it. Let me say that these people were loaded. Some of the wealthiest folks in the city, spending almost all day eating and drinking while their children would run around or play in the pools. Despite the money, the large majority were nice, really respectful folk, especially the older ones. One fateful sunny Saturday, this man comes with his family. Let's call him Joe. Joe sits down in the same table as a lot of my regular Saturday clients were, a group of older gentlemen who ordered beer after beer and lots of special orders from the kitchen. Me. Good day, sir. May I take your order? Joe. Sure, bring me a Brand X beer and some ice cream for the kid. Joe's kid was a young boy around 9 called Billy, who I'd seen around the club but never talked to. Joe's wife was Carmen, who just nodded to the husband's request, and off I went. Over the course of the next hour or so, every time Billy saw me near him, he would just ask me for another ice cream or a soda, etc. Due to the club's rules, I had to go directly to Joe and ask him to authorize the boy's request. I was only doing my job, and everyone at the table knew that, using my arrival as an excuse to order more drinks. Joe, however, was getting pretty angry. And around the 8th time I arrived to talk, he grabbed me by the arm. I'm trying to have a conversation here. What's the deal now? Old man. He's just doing his job, Joe. Leave the kid. Me. Your son wants. Joe. Listen, just give him whatever he asked you to get, okay? Just don't bother me again. I look around the take, fuming as Joe let go of me, and see the old man winked at me. For the rest of the day, whenever the boy asked for anything, I'd just give it to him and charge Joe's account. It didn't take long for Billy to realize I wasn't going to his dad, and his requests began to escalate. What started as a simple ice cream was now being portions and more portions of loaded fries, sodas, and probably more sugar than any kid should eat. It was already night when Carmen came to me asking to close their bill. It was monstrous. Joe tried to argue with me and request for the manager, but the rest of the table reminded him of his demand to me. He was forced by the manager to pay, since there were multiple witnesses to his orders. Carmen made him upgrade my share to 15% of the bill as an apology. Needless to say, he never treated me rudely again, and the old guys never let him forget that story. 3 cheers for the table mates who backed you up. And our second story. I sold a couple items to nice church-going folks who weren't so nice. So I started a new job and needed some gas money, etc., quick to get there. So I had an unused iPod Touch and a barely used iPad Mini. Knowing they were worth much more, I put them both up on Craigslist for $50 each because I wanted to sell them fast. I was never going to use that iPod, and I have a different iPad that I use already, so I was okay with this, although I know I could have gotten much more. A couple from a town about 30 minutes south of me near the West Virginia border contact me and say they'll take both if I would do $90 and that they'd come to my town to meet me. Perfect. I hop on the bus and meet them at a Walmart. Keep in mind, they offered to drive up. I never asked. In the text, they were dead set on buying, just wanted to see both turn on, which is absolutely fair, so I came prepared with both items fully charged. The husband was totally down and really wanted both. The wife was the issue. Her. Well, I definitely want the iPad, but if you can put the iPod away in a box so it looks brand new, we might take it. Me. Our agreement was both for $90 as I'm putting everything back in the box. Her. Well, we drove all the way from their town, so could you do $75? I mean, we spent the gas money to get here. You guys offered to come meet me at Walmart. Had I requested you drive, I would absolutely give you a deal on top of the deal I'm already doing. That was your idea, not mine. Her to her husband, I told you should have waited for her to ask us to meet us. Now I have the iPod back in the box, and mind you, I live in southeastern Ohio, where big box stores are few and far between, so this Walmart's the closest Walmart to them, and they accidentally slipped and told me They had to do some shopping anyway, so they would have been doing the drive already. Her. Well, I have $50 with me and that's it. Me. That's not what we agreed upon. I'm sorry. Her husband. What happened to the money I gave you when we got in the car? To which she gives him a look of death. Her. I don't have it anymore. Me. Look, I have to get back home, so I need a decision here. Her. Can you do both for $60? No, I cannot. Her. Listen, you're trying to squeeze money out of good church-going people. We have 2 kids. They're expensive. Do you have kids? No, I do not, but you answered my ad. No one's forcing you to buy what I have. You made the drive here. $90 is my final price. I'm a nice person that goes to church too. I'm not taking advantage of anyone or squeezing money out of anyone. If you didn't have the money, you shouldn't have wasted my time. I'm sorry that you wasted yours too. If you don't have kids, you wouldn't understand. Looking at the iPod that's back in its original box. Did you not put that tape back on the iPod? No, you guys had me take it off to show you the product, and it doesn't stick to it again, so it'll look better if it's not on there. I'll give you $10 for the iPod since you can't put that tape back on it. I take the iPod and iPad and tell them that $90 was already an extremely reasonable price given the condition and generation of both products. I start telling them to have a nice day when magically she pulls a wad of cash out of her wallet. I'd say it was easily $300. She throws $90 on the table and says something else about being taken advantage of and grabs her 2 lovely children and tells her very embarrassed husband that she's ready to go. I grab the money and tell him that it was a pleasure, and he mouths, "I'm so sorry," to me. So much was wrong with this. I'm thankful this sale worked out in the end, but it was hilarious to me how she was trying to take advantage of me by mentioning her church habits and her kids while telling me that I was taking advantage of her. Don't answer an ad, then pretend you don't have the money that was agreed upon. Come on. And maybe don't tell a woman who's trying to no avail to have children that she doesn't understand something because she doesn't have kids. Just be grateful that you're able to have kids, and don't teach them to be a craphead. Being a churchgoer doesn't automatically make you worthy of discounts, even in small, conservative southern Ohio towns. Especially when you've got hundreds of dollars in cash in your wallet. If you can't afford something, don't agree to buy it in the first place. Don't be greedy. And our last story. Move your grandson and let your niece live there. I have 2 brothers. We're 5 years apart, so when I ran off to see the world, baby brother, 50, was 8 years old. Not the brother I'm talking about, though. This is middle brother, 55. Our great-grandfather was an actual coal baron. He owned several mines, had his own trucks, and even a spur railroad line to send the coal to the main tracks. Our grandfather bought land alongside a main river and built a coal tipple to load their coal and others onto barges to be sent down the river to where it was needed. Before he died, grandfather sold it all. It was in the late 60s, kept enough money for him and grandmother, then the rest was put into trust for kids and grandkids. At age 21, I was given $322,000. I bought a car and a motorcycle, then thanks to my grandmother's wise advice, I forgot that I had it, just left it in the trust, until she found a farm for sale. I snapped it up, the house needed work, brought everything up to code, put a lot of insulation in. Later on, I bought one of those half-round steel garages, and over the years, it's been turned into a living space. Quite nice, people call it the cave. A buddy sprayed a few inches of foam on the walls and we painted it gray. It's tucked back in the tree line and needs no AC in the summer. Heats a wood-burning stove, plenty of wood too, wireless, great digital TV signals. Several friends and family members have stayed there when they needed a place. Since the property's far closer to my grandson's high school than their house, my daughter let him and a buddy live there for almost 3 years. He starts college at the same college my niece is going to graduate school. She needed a place to stay, and her mom asked me, and I said of course. The problem started 2 days ago with grandson calling asking if I told my brother him and his friend had to move into the half-round and give the house to his cousin and a previously unmentioned friend. Oh no, I didn't, so he told his uncle to F off and handed the phone to middle brother. After a very short argument on how unsatisfactory it was for his golden child and how bratty my grandson was, they left. When he hung up on me, I texted his wife and said the deal was off thanks to middle brother. I answered one text from her explaining what happened. I refused to answer middle brother's calls or texts asking me to change my mind. Baby brother called me laughing. Middle brother called him on the verge of tears begging for him to change my mind. So he did beg me. begged me to charge them the standard rate of rent for this. With utilities included, that'd be about $12,000 a year. Get the first and last, plus sign a 2-year lease. His wife, sister-in-law, is a lawyer. She'll write a great lease. He said she'd offered. Long ago, sister-in-law came to ask me if her friend, a victim of domestic abuse, could hide there. You don't say no to that, but to her it was an act of kindness she could find nowhere else at the time. I told baby brother to have her draw it up and send it, make grandson the landlord. Baby brother and sister-in-law got to work on it, and every base was covered. Middle brother has the lease, but I've not heard back. Our mother would be mad at me. Dad would laugh. He's still alive, but dementia took his mind and memories. If someone got confused, OP owns 2 buildings on the same property, but apparently doesn't live there at all. 1, the main house is occupied by grandson and his buddy. 2, the half-round, aka the cave, is a converted garage. While various people have stayed there at different times, nobody's living there now. OP told his brother that niece could move into the house too. Brother told grandson that grandson and buddy had to move out of the house and into the half-round so niece and her friend could have the house to themselves. You are a special kind of person. Please continue to be you, because you amaze me. Thank you for this story. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.